What's up, you fucking weirdos? Welcome back to the Avarice podcast. I'm Devin. Today's movie commentary, we're going to be watching the movie Red State from 2011. It's a Kevin Smith movie, although it is very divergent from almost every other Kevin Smith movie. In fact, I think every other Kevin Smith movie. I can't think of any other ones that he's done that are even remotely similar to this. Got my coffee brewing in the background. Once that's done, we'll take a seat on the couch, pop a squat, burn a bowl, and then I will count you down to starting the movie. If you're going to watch along, go ahead and get that prepared. If not, you can enjoy it in just audio podcast form. I try to make it stand alone as much as I can. If you're watching on YouTube, there will probably be a couple of screenshots from the film. We'll try to make them correlate best I can with what I'm saying. I don't want to get in trouble copyright-wise. And I'm not going to sit at my computer for an hour and a half trying to line that shit up and cut back to this person's face and that person's face every time. It's just not... I don't have that kind of time in my day at this point. Maybe down the road, this starts to pay some dividends. We start to build something. But right now, making money and paying the bills takes precedent. You want to support the show? You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, Avarice Podcast on all platforms. I do sell some shirts on Amazon. I always put the designs up on my Facebook with the link. There's not really a handle or a search term I can give you when you're in Amazon that's going to make it easy to find. I guess you could search for the term avarice as a seller or as a manufacturer, and that might help. But at this point, I don't have a Patreon or anything like that because I don't know what I'd offer you guys because, frankly, I don't even have enough time in the day to do what I'm already trying to do. And so to just add more stuff, that would put me at a stress level that I'm uncomfortable with, and it would make it kind of hard to enjoy any of the process because I'm barely keeping it together right now as it is. Seems like almost every day I'm skipping out on something that I planned that I thought I could get done that day, whether it's the gym or you may have noticed the last couple of weeks I've been shit at recording podcasts. I was trying to be more productive last week and get to bed earlier, but because of my schedule, I ended up not recording podcasts and being up for almost the same amount of time, and it didn't prove to be more productive in any way. So this week, going back to the podcast recording schedule, and I've just got to tighten things up when it comes to waking up when that alarm goes off. I've let myself become a little bit lazy, and I can't be having it. I guess what it is, if I really had to define it, is I spent so many years deprived of sleep, just sacrificing sleep day after day for weeks and months and literally years, that one day I just got sick of it, and I decided that I was going to get my sleep. I was tired of not getting sleep. And so now it's hard to go back and be like, I'm only going to get 4 hours of sleep today and I'll be fine. It's a muscle that needs exercised. I need to get it back in shape. And I don't want to get back into the habit of doing that as often as I was. But it would be nice to be able to pull that trigger a couple times a week at least and be able to get more shit done. I just have too much shit in the back of my head that eats at me that I want to get done, and not enough time to do it. If I didn't have like a family and that kind of structure to my life, I would be some kind of weirdo. I would be eccentric. I would be staying up for 36 hours straight, then sleeping for 15 hours straight. Like, I would be all over the place. It would be so hard to try to nail down when and where I'm going to be. I'd probably always be home, but any type of schedule or routine would be fucking... It's kind of my wife that's kept me normal all these years, probably. If I didn't have her after I left my parents' house, I probably would have been all over the place. We were watching a documentary about Area 51 and Bob Lazar today, and it was pretty easy for me to see how I could have ended up somebody like him. That seems like a bit of an arrogant statement considering how smart he is. Obviously, he has this education in science. He's a scientist. He's able to build these rockets and all this shit. But I could see how, if given a slightly different path, I could have ended up somebody who's tinkering with rocket dragsters in my garage and has a particle accelerator in their bedroom. It is not that far from... Just a couple of zigs when I zagged, and I could have ended up in a far different place. I don't mean for that to sound like regret. I'm just speculating that I can understand somebody like him who sits there and just tinkers with shit and tries to figure shit out. Anyway, that was a long preamble, not really related to the film at all, and I apologize. I don't even know how I got started on that. But here I sit, ready to smoke some weed, and then after that, I'll give you a 3, 2, 1 before we start playing the movie, so that you can coordinate if you're going to watch it too. I think this is a pretty underrated, misunderstood movie. Well, I don't even know if it's misunderstood. I don't think enough people saw it for it to be able to call that. Basically, it's a Kevin Smith movie, but it's dissimilar from all other Kevin Smith movies. So people who are hardcore Kevin Smith fans aren't going to necessarily inherently like it the way they would with a lot of his other goofy stuff with Jay and Silent Bob, Clerks, Dogma. Excuse me. This has a much different tone to it than all of his other movies. So, that probably led to a lot of his core audience being disappointed by it. And it was, excuse me, it was a low-budget picture. It didn't have a excuse me, I haven't recorded one of these for a while. And I gotta get my rhythm back or something. I'm tripping all over myself. Anyway. It didn't have the marketing plan. It wasn't mass marketed. I think it was limited release, if it was in theaters at all. Online, it says it had a $1.8 million box office. But it wasn't in any theaters around here. I don't remember. I found out that this movie existed because Joe Rogan was talking about it on his podcast some 7-8 years ago. And then he had Kevin Smith on to talk about it. And that's when I went and found it and watched it. And I love the shit out of it. But I don't think people were made aware of it. The few family members and people that I've shown it to have thought it was a really good movie. It's just, I think it was an issue of exposure. And it was kind of a perfect time and place, if I'm being honest. I would think it might even have played better if it was released more recently. It kind of plays on some of the emotions and hot button issues of our current day. Maybe switch out the homophobia for like transphobia or something, and you'd get a bunch of people lining up behind it to sing its praises for its morality. And, well, I guess the guy doesn't get it at the end, so. I should also confess that while I like this movie a lot, I have not seen it for several years. So as we're moving through it, I might think something's coming and be incorrect. I might misjudge something. You'll just have to bear with me, but for the most part, it should be pretty smooth. Okay, I am pressing play in 3, 2, 1, play. So basically what this is meant to be is kind of a cinematic version of Fred Phelps, leader of the West Baptist Church or something like that. The God hates fags people. The really anti-gay, homosexuals will burn in hell type zealots. And so he took that real life person and he wrote this movie based around them. But simultaneously, he was writing this for Michael Parks, who plays the main preacher role. His name is Aben Cooper, and he's essentially this movie's version of Fred Phelps. But there's some tweaks therein because Parks didn't want to play essentially a copy or a clone of Fred Phelps. He wanted to put his own kind of English on it, so to speak. But Kevin Smith saw Michael Parks in From Dusk Till Dawn. That was him sitting right there. He's smiling at this funeral. See, they have deliver gays to hell, fags go to hell, queer lust. Like, they are huge protesters and anti-gay. I don't even know what the term. They went about it in the most provocative way. Like, it's one thing to have those views, and those views are obviously incorrect and archaic, but it's another thing to phrase it in a certain way and push people's buttons, say things that you know are going to get a visceral reaction out of them, and that's really what they seem to be doing also. Anyway, Kevin Smith saw Michael Parks in From Dusk Till Dawn back in like 96, and he is the sheriff at the beginning, and he was captivated by that performance. That inspired him to look more into Michael Parks and basically write this role with him in mind the entire way. Michael Parks was an unsung hero of Hollywood. He did a lot of real small roles. He always did his best. He was a remarkable actor, but he never really got that seminal moment, that defining role that cast him into the limelight and really gave it the recognition that he deserved. Kevin Smith hoped that's what he would get out of this, but I don't think anybody saw the fucking thing, to be honest. I really don't. Or the marketing was misjudged. They put their money in the wrong. I don't know what happened. But this very easily could have been a big time, at least a cult classic. In my opinion, it's kind of a horror movie. I guess you could classify it as a thriller as well. But these are the kind of movies that terrify me because I can picture putting myself in that person's shoes, and it's a realistic situation, and it would be legitimately terrifying. And all that adds up to... I'm able to relate to the characters in those situations, and it actually gets my heart beating fast. It actually gets goosebumps on my skin. Craigslist. So, of course, well, I don't know if I want to explain the whole movie's plot before we even get there. So they're looking at some app on their phone, trying to get laid. Oh, they're gonna get scammed. It's not catfished, but that's right. I recognize that guy in the middle from something, but I don't know what. Cooper's Dale, holy shit, why don't I just grow a longer rat tail? Look at this New Kids on the Block /hick looking motherfucker. Who would ever think that's a good hairstyle? My fucking god. I cannot take you seriously. That's worse than having purple hair or blue hair or like a mohawk. At least a mohawk looks kind of badass. At least if you have colored hair, I can think you're really into Smurfs or something. If you have that haircut, I think you're just a dipshit. I think that you'd have like an IQ below 75. And if that's the case, you shouldn't be choosing your own haircut. Somebody around you should know better and advise you. It's a little bit, I gotta be honest, it's a little bit gay. Like, I don't even really understand two dudes on one girl. I don't really want to be naked and near a dude like that. I definitely don't want to accidentally touch. The double penetration shit, I really don't get. You're basically just rubbing balls with a dude. I don't know how, like, is it supposed to feel better? And if it does feel better, it's because you're rubbing your dick against his dick. The double penetration shit is like Rogan says, you're using her vagina as a container for you to rub dicks. So 3 dudes and 1 girl? You must be really fucking desperate. And I'd want to go first. And you guys turn around and face the wall. Like, it's weird. It's a bit weird. I guess I wouldn't classify it as gay, but it's definitely below my standards. It's not an experience, like... I also wouldn't feel like she even wants to be there. That's a part of it for me. I can't have sex with somebody if I don't feel like they're actually into it. Like, I don't even know if I could ever accept, like, a mercy fuck or, like, a hooker, because I wouldn't buy it. Like... She's just doing this because she feels like she has to. I don't... Oh, fuck. What are you doing, dude? Oh, God. What a dipshit. So for people just listening, they're passing a bottle around while they're driving down this dark country road, and the driver takes a swig and takes his eyes off the road and hits a parked car. Well, he kind of sideswiped it. It could have been a lot worse. If he had hit it dead on, some of them would be injured. What the fuck? Oh, is that Stephen Root? I forgot he was in this. He was getting a blowjob on the side of the road in the country. I don't want to call them deserted. I don't know what less frequented rural roads make fairly decent makeout spots. I'm not gonna lie. Whenever I want to give the sheriff a blowjob, that's where we go. Your mom's Volvo is fucked, bro. Oh, they don't even know they're being set up. See, it starts like... This could kind of be Kevin Smith-ish. It's still a little dark. But what kind of goofy hijinks are these 3 teenagers going to get themselves into? I thought those were her nipples for a second. That looks like a wig. I've never noticed that before, but it definitely looks like a wig. Maybe my eyes just gotten better. Last time I watched this, I wasn't really analyzing movies on the level that I am now. I just wasn't paying that much attention. Jesus Christ, how tall is Billy Ray? Is he gonna be? Is he gonna be in the remake of Blue Chips? So, she's one of these zealots and they don't know it yet. They're being set up. And I'm supposing because they're willing to have sex with one woman and they're 3 dudes that they're considering that a homosexual act, or at least semi-homosexual. Because they're huge into the anti-gay thing. Why wouldn't they try to target gay kids. I forgot that this is the setup. I remembered it as they were mistaken for being gay, and that's why they got captured. By the way, spoilers. I already told you he's the sheriff. They're gonna get captured. I'm not gonna be able to watch this movie as if I don't know what's happening. It's a gift and a curse. Oh, what was that guy's name? He was in Breaking Bad. He's got a weird voice. Badger. Talks like he's inhaling. I don't even want to. How you know they was kids? So he is closeted and also the sheriff of the town that houses this huge anti-gay religious zealot population. They're basically a cult. Let's be honest. At least this segment of them. Almost all religions are cults. But this little faction, the Phelps family, is a particularly cult-like segment. She give you those beers? You're gonna be drugged out. We drunked out and fucked out. Those were already open. She took them out of the fridge open. That's a bit suspicious. Also, you have a mandatory amount of beer that I have to drink before we can fuck? Are they not paying for this? I guess they're not. They were on like that app, and he said it was the Craigslist for people who want to fuck. Oh boy. See, I'm already getting nervous for them. They don't even realize. They think they're just gonna do, you know, classic friend behavior and triple team this girl in her trailer. They don't realize they've been roofied. They're gonna wake up, the alarm clock's gonna be covered in Vaseline, and their ass is gonna be really sore. Oh boy. So she fed them those beers. They should have known better. The fucking beers were open when she took them out of the fridge. And now they're in cages. And the cages are covered with sheets. They can't even see where the fuck they are. And this is what I'm talking about. While I said I don't think I'd fuck with triple teaming some trailer park slut with my buddies, I could have easily been looped into some type of similar situation. It's not beyond the realm of possibility. So it's very easy to imagine how I could have accidentally ended up in one of these cages, and that's a terrifying idea. And I think part of what he did here is because he could have made it a gay character, and that would have resonated to a certain level with people. But I think by having these at least seemingly straight teenagers captured by the church and treated this way, it's meant to provide perspective, because I'm not gay. But I can imagine myself in that cage because I can imagine myself having been in the situation that these kids were just in, or at least a similar one. So you're able to get a level of identification. And I'm not saying I wouldn't be able to identify with the character if they weren't gay. I mean, if they were. I'm not explaining this appropriately. Anyway, I think he tried to make it resonate with a broader audience by making it straight kids that they capture and persecute in this way rather than gay kids. And that would have been too obvious, maybe. So here's Michael Parks in his beautiful monologue. Originally, Kevin Smith had wanted him to dress in a tracksuit like Fred Phelps, but this is an ensemble outfit that Michael Parks came up with on his own. He had a whole theory behind it. He'd come up with a backstory for his character, and essentially he wanted to have his best foot forward when giving his sermon. He wanted to be as presentable as possible, put on his Sunday best. Oh shit, he's zapping him with a cattle prod. I'm scared of people that seem to be brainwashed to this extent. To people that think that it would be okay to capture these kids and put them in cages and zap them while delivering a sermon, and singing hymns. And the kids is the scariest part, because kids don't know any better, and unless they're exposed to various ideas and concepts and some tolerant people that can show them other ways, if they just stay in this little tight-knit community and get this shit hammered into their head, if they're told gay people are evil and they never actually see any gay people out in public, it's just going to be gospel, no pun intended. They're going to believe it because they don't know any better. The only people they know are telling them that. I'm good at climbing. And he had this whole choreography, all these steps and movement, everything. He planned this all out ahead of time. Kevin Smith's original vision was for him to just be straight on standing in one spot, kind of two-dimensional, and he brought life to it. God, it's fucking chilling. Basically, I can't say that I respect it, because that would be... You can't respect anything that has this kind of a message and a rhetoric. But he is staying true to the word of the Old Testament, is he not? The fire and brimstone of it all. That appears to be where he's coming from. So he's kind of got a point when he calls all the other preachers kind of fakes in their forgiveness and tolerance, because that's not really how the words are written, to my understanding. Again, I'm not an overly religious person. In fact, not at all. But given the fact that I think it's total nonsense, I think that this belief system is total nonsense. But at least he's actually following what's written in the book. You have a bunch of other people that are kind of wishy-washy and just picking and choosing what they want to follow. It's like they're afraid to throw it away entirely, but they're also afraid to embrace it wholly. And these people are just choosing to embrace it wholly and all of its nonsense. I hope I explained that correctly. I might be putting my foot in my mouth like a motherfucker. There's a shorthand when you're talking to people you know, where there's so much assumed on both your parts because you know so much about each other that you don't have to explain every single statement because they already know the context or the supporting details ahead of time just by accumulation of content and conversations. But on a podcast, I feel the need to kind of really really parse it out and make sure that I didn't leave myself looking like a fool in one route or another. Like I'm doing right now. Fucking A, let's go back to the movie. That looks like an outfit that somebody who doesn't know how to dress nice would wear and think it looks nice. A couple of people in this movie are slightly recognizable other than John Goodman, but I don't really know who they are. So have they captured this on the basis that they're sexual deviants and they're not trying to play the gay card at all? Why did I... Maybe because they're so anti-gay. In my memory, I had it as they captured these kids because they thought they were gay, and that's why they were holding them captive and treating them this way. But it's not appearing that now. It's appearing that maybe that's just the belief they wanted to hammer, hit home on the hardest because of the imagery. But they're also trying to show that he believes fire and brimstone about all these kind of abstract things that they call sins.
Yeah, boy. They recruit. Yeah, boy. But they do not program. Is there anyone who can look at me and deny he's our time? Outside of him, there's a world.
Armageddon, preaching Armageddon. So once we reached a certain level of dominance as a species, if that's the correct way to put it, like once our civilizations and societies were bolstered to a certain strength and safety became assumed, so to speak, we were so protected by everything that had been built by the previous generations, we had to worry less about getting eaten by fucking jungle cats and bears and pterodactyls. No, just we eliminated predators really from our lives in a way that nothing else on Earth is able to do, except for total apex predators, and even then, they kind of have to worry about us. We don't really have to worry about much, at least not in vast numbers. It's all real small statistically. And so because of that illusion of safety that we have, like this is all going to last and this is all permanent, the human mind wants to worry. Basically, it's kind of built into it to nitpick things. So if we're convinced that the present day is taken care of, we start imagining all this shit that might happen. What if an asteroid hits tomorrow? What if the sun explodes? What if there's an earthquake? What if there's a tornado? What if there's a tsunami? What if there's zombies? Start worrying about future non-existent or future threats that might happen. Some that are imagined, some that potentially could happen, some that definitely will happen, but we don't know when. Who the fuck is this guy?
Y'all know about the World Wide Web.
Y'all know about that World Wide Web?
We harness it.
Because the internet is the devil, mama? Everything's the devil to you.
And we promised them boys what they wanted to hear. It's like an insect. It's like moths to a flame, like flies to a horseshit. Insects. They're easily trapped in that snare.
See, this is where they go really wrong. Like, it's a one thing to believe some crazy shit and to tell people that you think they're going to hell or something like that. It's a far different thing to seek them out, set traps for them, capture them, and torture, kill, whatever. That is... I think that you have the right to believe whatever you want, but in fact, I prefer to know what you believe so that I know where you stand, so I know how to treat you. But you're not allowed to put your beliefs on other people's bodies, so to speak. You're not allowed to go out hunting for people that don't believe what you believe. If you want to have a debate with them, if an argument breaks out, that's one thing. But you're not going to solve the war of ideas with physical violence like this.
The wrath of God is revealed from heaven.
Oh, sweet Jesus. So this guy that's taped up to the cross is not one of the three boys. Did he take some gay bait? I don't know what's going on here. Oh yeah, it said watch that gay saliva. If it gets on you, it can turn you. Like it's contagious. Man, they got some fucked up beliefs. But then again, they have to discount science in order to follow their religion. Evolution, what's that? You guys buried them bones so you could dig them up for news cameras. You ain't fooling me. Fuck, we got people nowadays who honestly believe the earth is flat. Like, how are we ever supposed to progress if we're gonna just be constantly going back and questioning things? Jesus Christ. Like, that fucking gives you goosebumps. Like, that is heinous. That's as cold-blooded as anything you'll ever see. Okay. That's why because the guy they just killed was gay, and he comes out of the cage screaming, "I ain't even gay." That's why I thought that they captured them. It's coming together now. I knew I didn't just imagine that. The fucking saran wrap. You don't have any leverage when that shit's on you. You cannot get out of there. Motherfucker, was you gonna wait for me to turn into a butterfly? And the way it's so premeditated and planned out and precise. They taped that motherfucker up. They wrapped his head in saran wrap, shot him in the head, and then wrapped over the hole, kept the blood all inside, dumped him down in the cellar. No mess. That was like Dexter precision. Oh, Badger. What is he finna do? Oh. So the sheriff came in and told the deputy that he had been sideswiped and now the deputy just saw their car on the other side of the fence by the church with the marks on the side because they sideswiped him. So he's going to investigate a hit and run, and I think he gets his ass shot up for it. Don't worry, they shoot it up with the best steroids. He has a great time. To this point, I feel like this isn't a great movie commentary, and I'm sorry about that. I think it's because I felt the need to veer into all the religious political shit, and then I felt like I wasn't explaining myself well. Still don't feel like I did. It's kind of hard to ignore, though, because that's what this movie is. That's what it's meant to make you feel and think about. Maybe that's why people ignored it. Maybe they didn't like thinking about that, feeling that. I think it's important to know that people like this can exist out there. And to even see those little kids and realize that you could have been one of those little kids.
You can't do it. Electronic gates going in magnetic alarm.
Because the adults, most of them at least, have to have an inkling that this is wrong. But the kids, they do not know better.
What can I do for you, youngster?
In fact, I think that one of Fred Phelps' kinfolk, his daughter or his granddaughter, was on Rogan's podcast and was talking about how it's hard for her to trust anything that anybody. She left the church. She got woke, so to speak, and it's hard for her to trust anything anybody says to her now because she feels like the people that she was supposed to rely on for information in her childhood betrayed that trust and lied to her and fed her all this nonsense. So now it's hard for her to really put trust in anybody, because when your parents and your grandparents and your family are the ones feeding you this nonsense and telling you all this, I don't even know exactly what they specifically lied to her about. Probably some non-shit bogus science. Goose is on the loose. Oh, you motherfuckers are just gonna get shot. Oh, I just spilt coffee. I forgot how full it was. God damn it, I'm a dunce. Right when it was getting intense. I swear this never happens. I didn't think there was a score in this movie, but I hear a subtle bass knock. Yeah, there is a little bit of a score, but it's very subtle. I imagine part of that is they didn't have the budget. It's definitely not in your face or trying to sway your emotions too much. I'm not sure how I feel about that, because there's some movies that are so vastly improved by their score. The original Halloween by John Carpenter comes to mind. There was actually a cut of that was screened with no score at all. And people didn't think it was scary. They thought it was kind of dumb. And then once they added the music in and scored it all up, it became the quintessential slasher movie. There's definitely a score in this. Why did I think there wasn't a score? It's just not, it's almost the way it's mixed, too. It's just not as in your face. I swore I already saw him say have a good night and thank you just a second ago. When I walked over. Anyway. Oh, Jesus. Damn, he shot him right in the head, but he got him back. And the deputy, see, they give you these little glimmers of hope. I like it. The twists and turns and the surprises. When you first watch this, you don't see any of this shit coming. Where are my cigarettes? Oh my God. He just killed the fucking cop. The Hope Spot was killed by the manager. In pro wrestling, they'll have one guy dominating the match, and then they'll have like a quick 15 seconds where it looks like the other guy's going to come back. It's called a comeback spot or a hope spot. And then he quickly gets snuffed out, and we go right back onto the trajectory we were on previously. That's kind of what that was. It's a common technique in horror movies where they'll have a cop come onto the scene or a detective and give you this little bit of glimmer of hope that shit's going to get solved. They're going to be on the case. They're going to go into hero mode and actually solve this. The evil's going to get taken down. And then, kind of like in House of a Thousand Corpses, in this movie, the cop gets gunned down. And now, on some cold-blooded shit, the preacher is on the CB radio spewing gay hatred to the sheriff. And he's got him crying at his desk and basically afraid to do anything about it. That is some gangster shit. Like, the set of balls that you must have to get on the deputy's CV radio that you just shot and threaten the sheriff with gay religious rhetoric. He doesn't get more self-righteous than that. Oh my God, this sheriff. And he's got a picture of his wife on his desk. So it's not just the fact that he might be worried about the moral implications of this or the blowback from the church and all the religious zealots. He actually is worried about his wife finding out and what it might do to her emotionally. Imagine that'd be a big hit. Especially they have kids and all that. Looks like he's middle-aged. I doubt she wants to start her life again as a single woman. He's gay, so I think you can get laid whenever you want if you're a gay guy. Because dudes always want to fuck, and when there's no female middleman to go through, no gatekeeper, I think the fucking just happens. Sounds great, but also sounds exhausting. And it just seems like it'd be hard to get shit done. If there was no girlfriend or wife saying no sex, would you ever? How often would you veer off into another direction and actually do something productive? If it was always yes, sex sounds great, might be all you did.
I'm sorry, sir. Can I call you back? Yes, thank you.
Probably wear your dick raw too. Our first introduction to John Goodman at 4:47 a.m.
If you love me, you'd make me some coffee.
I think that he works for the feds or the ATF. That might be how that would make sense. They probably have illegal firearms or an illegal store of firearms. You saw that huge room of guns the kid was in. At least he took him with him. What are you crying for? He got to die a martyr. killing one of these sexual deviants that you fear so much.
I'm now ready to be offered.
See what happens? If you just kept your business to yourself, or stayed out of other people's business rather, not gone out, found these kids, brought them back to your church to murder them for some fucking bogus religious reason, your husband, or whoever that guy was to you, your brother, in praise of the Lord, would still be walking these hallowed halls. But no. You had to jump the fence, catch some butterflies, and bring them home to torture them. One of those butterflies was poisonous. Poisonous? One of those butterflies was Merry Christmas. One of those butterflies was from Noth. And now, you're dead. She's pissed off because she wanted him to drink a third beer before he shot her husband. She doesn't let a man shoot her husband unless he's got at least 3 beers in him. What do you do with people like this? Like, can you convert them? Can you make them not entirely evil? Granted, once you start killing people, you're done. We might as well give you the death penalty. But suppose they weren't capturing and killing people, but they just have these ridiculous beliefs and they insist on shoving them down people's throats. What do you do about that? I guess if they're not hurting anybody, you just let them be. Like I said before, it's better to let them for you to know where they stand. But if they are hurting people, they got to be dealt with. That can't be allowed.
You're thinking of Fred Phelps and his family up in Kansas? God hates fags. They're irritating, but they're not gun nuts.
He actually referenced Fred Phelps in the movie. I'm surprised by that.
Sewers, not doers. Last April, someone filed a complaint.
So they're supposed to exist on the same timeline.
On church property. No injuries sustained and minimal damage done to a tree. But in an interview with the local media, Cooper claimed that if the bomb had gone off in a synagogue, black church, or a homo-friendly Unitarian coven, there'd have been an uproar. No suspects, no arrests. Local law enforcement chalked it up.
Oh.
Turning them into barricade fences. Locals call it the Great Wall of Bullshit.
I need to step it up. I'm not doing a good enough job here.
To the Patriot Times right about then. He said,
I gotta be honest, when I saw this movie, no offense, John, but I was like, fuck, John's getting old. He might be on his way out.
and you can see why. We've had him on surveillance off and on.
I think I mistakenly thought that he was fatter than he is, though. He's just a really big guy.
Chasing headlines.
I mean, he looks overweight, but not a tremendous amount. Sir, do you really think that's a good idea? I just got a haircut.
Make sure that's wise at this juncture, sir.
Oh,
Why?
popping that back.
Because if you give us a few more days,
My neck,
I'm sure we can do
my
something
back.
more substantial than this shirt.
Make my vertebrae go off track.
That's how you want to put it. No, sir, I'm not. Situations like this hasn't been exactly.
I'm saying how you want to kick it. Gonna kick it roof down. We're at 44 minutes and 30 seconds. 44 minutes left.
Be fully mobilized and on site in an hour. I understand.
Now, this is an identifiable situation. Everybody wants to picture themselves being the survivor, the one that's able to persevere, find a way out. Your classic Rambo situation. And it's one of those psychology tricks that's worked in movies since the beginning of time. You stack the odds against somebody, and people will just naturally root for them because they're vulnerable and they're being bullied. He's actually singing that song. He had a great singing voice. I haven't mentioned yet that he passed away in 2017. Rest in peace. I'm sorry that you really never got your due as an actor. You were amazing. I just don't think you ever got given the proper chance, the role that could catapult you. This was a great role. No offense to anybody involved. Kevin Smith, I love this movie. It just wasn't, the exposure wasn't there. The praise wasn't there. He was in Kill Bill 1 and 2 and Django Unchained, but he never got to lead like he did in this movie. Of course, the name being Red State, it's also meant to kind of cast shade at the red states, the Republican states, the conservative states, the Bible Belt. Which also may be why people didn't like it. Imagine if you live in one of those states and you're like, hey, motherfucker, just because I live in a red state doesn't mean we believe what these people believe. We're not out here killing sexual deviants, calling people fags. I have trouble trusting people that believe anything this much. I just feel like they're crazy. Goddamn, dude, run for it. It would have been dope if he turned around before he got out the door and just lit the room up. I was gonna say on some Columbine shit, but that's poor taste. Too soon? You don't know where the fuck you're going. This is a problem, dude. Is that gun loaded? Is the safety off? Oh boy, this doesn't end well for you. It just can't. He's gonna get sniped, ain't he? Yep, you should have lit the fucking room up, dude. Who got him? Oh, shit. Goddamn, good job, Kevin.
Who the fuck are you?
Oh, fuck. That was another killed hope spot. You thought that kid was going to be running free. You had a glimmer of hope that he was going to make it out of there. And then it turns out that there's police outside preparing for a standoff, and the fucking sheriff shoots the kid in the head.
How much you think it costs like that?
Seems like a situation that's just destined for failure.
You mean the dollars or common sense?
Oh, shit.
We get the spike mic set up?
That's Kevin Pollak. Kevin Pollak asked, how much do you think a cross like that costs? And John Goodman said, in dollars or common sense?
22.
It's all county had. Been building addition to the original structure for the last 50 years. No permits.
They got anything on
This is a bit slow-paced.
you gotta look out for? Isn't this a stable?
No, that's Home Depot. It was a stud farm belonging to the last neighbor the Coopers ever had.
I don't know if anything will ever live up to the first time I watched it, and I was just like a thrill ride. I had no fucking idea what I was in store for, and it just kept taking all these turns, and I believed in all these hope spots, thought that this kid was going to get free. He gets killed. He ends up killing the other dude, and I think the other dude's going to get free. The cops shoot him. And now we're like, the cops are here. This has got to end with the hero saving the day. It's the way this works. We believe in a just world where evil entities like this are brought down with righteous authority. Damn, Skippy, we won't be harmed. You won't be charmed.
I think it's the use of the word repeat that makes this.
Rose McGowan. He's got a little bit of tongue-in-cheek comedy in here. It's not bad. He chews gum like his jaw's tired, but he doesn't want to spit it out because he's going to start grinding his teeth. He makes that face. I think John Goodman's rolling on MDMA right now.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh. They're not fucking about. They're not even going to pretend to recognize their authority. See, this is why they don't let you have a compound and lots of guns. You start collecting a bunch of people with a lot of guns, you have a compound, and you got crazy beliefs, they're going to come in with some bulldozers and level your shit. Because you're dangerous. They're holed up in this church, firing at them with automatic machine guns. Kevin Pollak got his eye blown out. He only got to be in the movie for like 4 minutes. Probably because of the budget. There was another surprise, though. You see a guy like Kevin Pollak stroll into the movie, you don't expect him to die 3 minutes later. The closest TV station's 100 miles away. Jesus. That's pretty fucking rural. See, I've long held the idea that the town I'm from is small, but the older I get and the more perspective I get, I'm realizing it's not really. It's not big by any means, but I live in Portland now. So compared to Portland, it was very small. But it's got 100,000 people. It's not tiny. The idea that there would be no TV station within 100 miles and the paper prints once a week? What the fuck? The youngest daughter, the kind-hearted teenager, has come out for her redemption arc. And you definitely got to get the kids out. Like, they don't know any better. They're just brainwashed, and you hope that you can teach them proper.
What are yours? Hold on a second.
Be-
The goddamn situation is in there, Joe.
the adults can all go fuck themselves. That teenage girl is probably good. The kids come out. Everybody else, we're not even going to bother identifying them, counting bodies. We're just going to drone this place.
Shopping mall this morning.
Fucking kidding me.
When we came with arrest warrants, they opened fire on us, killing the assistant special agent in charge, leaving us no choice but to take the premises with deadly force.
No women and no kids inside there now.
The resulting firefight, all suspects.
The adult women, the ones who are like 40 years old and believe that crazy shit, they can die with the men. They stood by and watched those kids get shot and tortured or whatever the fuck's been going on here for years.
We're here, Joe. You're here. You can call us. And then what, Harry?
Aren't those like horse stables? I don't see any fucking horses. What do you think they do with those?
Assholes who can't do our jobs again. That's what happens the minute a single news van rolls up and any one of these people walks out of there alive, goes on CNN, and says,
We're the bad guys. Doesn't matter who the fuck's around. Tell us the goddamn news. That's exactly what we're gonna be. The fucking bad guys!
I got 18 years in. I'm not telling my wife she's got to clip coupons to her deck. 'Cause
I understand the moral implications of this argument, but it is carrying on for a little bit too long also.
works a skull in my fucking knee. They're shooting at us with military.
There could have been,
He's ate a bunch of tweakers in a motel.
in a movie that is slow and primarily driven by dialogue, I think there needs to be a little bit more intrigue and a little bit more revealed through those conversations. You can't spend 3-4 minutes mulling over this one decision when we basically understand the entire scope of it as soon as it's brought up. You don't have to explain the thought process or the different feelings involved in that decision.
Hostile domestic terrorist cell.
Here's some deadly force information.
Son of an arms.
We're not terrorists.
Those are your goddamn orders. Wrong move, Joe.
We're not terrorists. We're not gonna do nothing.
You can't just shoot that girl. You're no better than they are.
No!
You need to take this gun and go back to the house now and run back to the house.
I don't want to.
Take the gun and head back into the house.
You're gonna shoot me.
Take the fucking gun, bitch. Now go to the house.
Oh. Yeah, see? You're worried about women and children. Meanwhile, that woman just blew your fucking officer's head off.
Respect his memory. I'm trying to run out on your family. Mom, they think we're terrorists. They're gonna kill us all.
Is she the dead guy's good? See, that's what scares me about people with these beliefs that are so strong that it makes me feel like they're crazy. Actually saying, good, I'm gonna die because now I'm gonna be in such and such paradise or whatever. To believe that strongly, to be that fucking sure of it, when there is absolutely no evidence, nobody has any evidence, it is not provable. To have that much confidence in it, when it is definitely a gamble at best, there's no way you could know. How many religions are there? They can't all be right. You're so confident in your decision that you're willing to just hit the simulate button and end the life. Because you're that, like... And they actually think they're doing it for a righteous cause. They think they're the heroes. They think they're dying defending Jesus' word as martyrs. It's unbelievable how skewed the human perception can get. How used to things you can get.
Good Lord will give you a mansion in his kingdom.
I think she delivers a pretty good performance too. She's got that fucking crazy glimpse in her eyes.
This is Matthew 24.
When his branches yet tender, and put it forth. Though it's summer's night.
These motherfuckers are getting shot at by federal agents and they're reciting Bible verses to each other. That is so distant from the framework that my brain operates on that it's like thinking Dungeons and Dragons is going to save your life to me. I'll just quote Ash from the Pokemon cartoon and everything will be great. The kids, god damn it. Makes me want to dive into the TV screen and beat the fuck out of all the adults in this house.
You're gonna be quiet.
Like, it's angering.
I don't want to shoot you, but I will.
Like, having your stupid beliefs, that's one thing. Like I said before, you can believe what you want to. You're not allowed to hurt people. And the brainwashing of your kids is just disgusting to me.
Fucking kill me.
If you help me, I won't. Else I will, I swear.
I think you can just overpower her. She's not prepared for you.
And they want to come in here and
I don't mean that in a sexual manner.
I'm trying to save your life. Those government people, they're gonna kill you too.
Maybe he should sodomize her and then she'll be shunned from the family.
And they're gonna kill
I kid. I'm not trying to encourage.
what they came here to do. They're gonna kill us, so
She seems like she might consent. She's desperate.
they don't want any witnesses. So they're gonna bust in here and shoot all of us. Even my little brothers and my sister and my cousin. But I can't let the babies get killed. I've done some bad things.
This kid needs to get out in the sun.
They don't know what we've been up to in here. If they did,
Of course they don't know what you've been up to.
they could put us on trial, and then the Zionist media make heroes out of
The
us.
Zionist media.
Need witnesses,
Sweet Jesus.
and that's you. That's you. So,
She might be too far gone too. Her heart's in the right place wanting to save the kids.
without
But
being killed, you can tell me.
her belief system might be so fucked. I don't know if you can convince her otherwise. She's talking about Zionist media. You guys got some hefty firepower in there. You got a lot of beef. Where'd you get all this beef? Did you see my cows out front?
Sweet tea, would you?
Oh man, he looked like a little kid playing a game. That smirk he had on his face, shit-eating grin.
You killed my fucking friend.
It's not me I care about so much, I care about the kids. My cousin's kid ain't but 3 years old, and my little
Oh, bruh.
My little sister's only 8.
Even this here is playing out a little bit too long. They're mulling over these decisions for too long.
Fuck you.
You think they're gonna believe that you weren't one of us? We give you the chance to tell them what's going on in your head.
It'd be worth it as long as all you guys died.
Exactly what they're gonna do.
You think I give a shit? Fuck you. And your stupid family.
Is he gonna get killed too? I thought he survived. That would be a real fucking twist. Because he seemed like he was the main protagonist the entire time.
My fucking head, because that's what I've been waiting for since you tied me to a fucking cross.
Oh shit. Here comes Mommy Dearest.
And they still kill me. So fuck you. And if you'll save your precious fucking baby, once you suck a fucking less you out of my dick, bitch.
Oh shit, how's this gonna turn out? Is she gonna shoot her mom? Might be hope for you yet.
What if we just confess against your faith?
Which one got shot? The mom got shot? Atta girl. It was humane. It was the humane thing to do. It was like putting down a rabid dog. You can't let your dog go around biting people, even if it's your mom. Oh, holy fuckamole.
There's men outside, and they aim to kill us, so you take everybody up to the attic, okay?
Oh.
Okay?
You let, like, the 3-year-old hear that?
Do what you can up there, God damn it! You do it right now!
That is some intense shit. He's pulling a move here where he's making the family relatable, but only the younger generations
Upstairs now.
that don't seem to have a choice or don't seem to know better.
You stay there until I come get you.
Now, I don't know that it's necessarily fair to hold the adults to a different standard if they weren't really exposed to various ideas and stuff, because, I mean, brainwashing is brainwashing. But they're not making the adults, the preacher, his daughter, any of them relatable. Or, they're not trying to make you empathetic to them. But the little kids, the ones who feel helpless and like they didn't choose this, they are trying to make you feel that way. One in each titty. It's probably because it's the easiest place to put the effect. Just hide it under her tits. You'll never see it. Or on top of her tits, not under her tits. let's put the squib under her tits. How many motherfucking bullets you guys got? I don't know that I've seen them reload once. Oh, there he goes. He got so many guns. The orange is my sherbet. I shall not eat it. So many fucking gunshot sounds. Oh, that's Kevin Smith's wife, isn't it? Oh, the sheriff just got it. Well, goddamn. Oh, I remember what happens now. That's right. It sure as hell was. Oh. The fake husband of Kevin Smith's real wife just got murdered. Now she did too. I wonder if he ever gets pissed off at his wife and goes back and watches this scene where she gets killed in this movie. Laughs a little bit. They're like, yeah, you just got shot in the head, you fucking bitch.
You don't have to do this.
Get back.
There's enough evidence to put us all away for life.
Don't move!
The baby's in the attic.
Oh, oh, God damn. They space out these deaths and surprise you with them over and over again. You thought that they had finally made it to safety there and she was going to negotiate to get the kids out. Instead, homeboy comes over basically on some passive-aggressive shit and kills them to be like, this is what you ordered me to do, cocksucker. Why ain't you do it? So apparently to them there's some prophecy about hearing horns, and that'll signify the second coming or judgment day. Or look at him dancing that little jig. He looks so authentically fucking happy. So I think they are coming outside because they believe that they're about to be saved. And I don't know what is actually playing the sound, to be honest.
There ain't no need for that anymore. Where's that sound coming from? And the far end you're loose. Which fair. An hour and a day, a month and a year. To slay a third of men. Yay! His sacred
God damn. I don't remember where the sound's coming from, but what a strange coincidence that they would have this belief that these horns signal the beginning of the rapture. Ooh. So they're basically coming out to surrender, but they don't realize they're surrendering because they think it's about to be Judgment Day.
Well, boy, there ain't nothing left but fine brimstone.
God damn. That evil look he just pulled off right there. He's a different person in this moment.
Four trumpet blast, the seals have no, and the horsemen dispatched. 3 more blasts, and he closes the book on this wicked. Wow, praise me. So come on.
God damn, you guys are lunatics.
Ye forgotten, ye for government. Come on. Come on, shoot me. Shoot me, you bootlicking flag worshiper. Heathen! Shoot me! Only haste is my reward in eternity. Shoot me, shoot me, shoot me, shoot me!
God damn, he's pulling this off. Everybody who had any shred of decency is dead, and he got to live.
What happened? I subdued the suspect.
Is he to review?
Headbutt.
Yes, sir. The suspect was standing unnaturally close. And then the trumpet blast sounded 3 more times, and a 4th and a 5th. By then it was pretty clear the rapture was going to happen, so we left the remaining 5 pointers.
On the record, Agent Keenan, this inquiry commends you for peaceably containing a potentially explosive situation. But, off the record, you've disobeyed a direct order from a superior judge.
Seriously?
I did. And I have no excuse that's going to mean anything here.
He has to meet with a review board because he didn't kill those people? That's fucking crazy. The fact that you would not be commended for saving lives wherever possible. I get that I said that they all deserve to die, but
It is the finding of this inquiry that Special Agent Joseph Keenan be relieved as head of Field Office 263.
what?
He's be placed on 1-week leave without pay, after which time he'll report to the Washington office for reassignment in the district.
I'm getting promoted?
Oh, okay. So he's taking a vacation and getting promoted.
You're still gonna kill him.
The United States government doesn't kill people, Agent Keenan, in or out of custody.
Of course we're gonna kill him, Joe. We're gonna kill him with kindness.
You gonna let him go to trial?
Come on. What is this, September 10th, 2001? We can plant him forever.
Shit.
Without a trial. Never show him the light of day, let alone a TV camera or a microphone.
Oh, they're using like some Patriot Act shit against him. They're gonna classify him as terrorists.
Okay? If you kill an American because of a religious belief, you are a terrorist. And terrorists get locked the fuck up.
If it's all so easy to put these people away for life, why was I given those orders?
Truth? Because fuck people like this.
They're animals.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Jesus saves.
You ain't gonna save Aben Cooper from a fuckload of prison.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
By Pope Cam Cox.
But
Savor that irony, Joe.
the idea that you couldn't try to save the kids is
Hey, what
What?
bullshit. You murdered all the wrong people.
Trumpet blast.
Pardon?
The trumpet blast. Was it really?
Mostly the wrong people.
Oh, that. Well, some new neighbors, these eco kids from the university with a compost collective, they got an acre off the ass end of the 5 Point property, other side of the hill. Aben's been giving them a bunch of guff because of the smell of the compost.
Was it bad?
Get so you can taste it.
5 Points property. They had their own huge compound. The 5 Points Church.
Bigger boys over to bitch at first, maybe break a window or two. Then I guess they went old school. Lots of sugar and gas tanks, burning bags of dog shit.
College kids.
No, that was Cooper and his church. Just called the cops.
I don't know what to say right now, honestly. I'm half listening and half trying to think of something to say, and none of it's working out.
And get Cooper and his family's hopes up with the trumpets. So they got this big ass rock.
Holy shit. So there was a neighborly dispute, and they decided to purposely fuck with them and play the horns to make them think it was the rapture.
Off as big as a Mini Cooper. So they trucked this thing down to their compost collector. They put it in a barn. They
That's
hooked it up to a
fucking
power.
hilarious.
And they played these single note trumpet blasts that they pulled off the internet.
And they had no idea that you were even there.
It's just dumb luck.
Happy coincidence.
Oh, those eco kids with the compost collective? Turns out it was a cover for a marijuana grow house. They're being booked right now, but considering how they probably saved a bunch of
They got them to come out of the stronghold with their horn blasts, but they also inadvertently exposed their marijuana grow up.
My grandma, on my mother's side, she had these 2 dogs, pure bloodhounds. Both came up the same litter. She kept them, and
After seeing this again, I really wish that Kevin Smith had gone more into like a couple of just horror movies. I think he could really pull it off.
gentlest dogs you'd ever care to meet.
I think he's got
Anyway,
a good enough take on the human condition to be able to come up with a really good thriller horror movie or two.
before I get up from the table, I toss these 2 old timers.
Especially with his knowledge of film history and stuff, like he could come up with like a Scream type meta, really self-aware thriller horror movie. I think if there's any candidate in the world that would be able to do that
Got anything they ever
and be able to make it goofy and scary at the same time,
when they're standing and dying.
Kevin, get on that, bro. I know you want to make yoga hosers and things like that, but
People just do the strange.
you've done a lot of kind of irreverent comedies. Let's do a few more of these horror thriller things. Come on, bro. Come on. Come on. I'll suck your dick. No, I won't. So he ended up getting to live and he's singing hymns in his jail cell.
I see faces you in that great white light.
God damn, that would get annoying.
My Savior makes me whole.
Fuck, that bed looks
And it shines.
so uncomfortable. Like, could anything be less comfortable than that? Might as well just be sleeping on the floor. The only reason to even have a bed is because there's storage space underneath.
Oh, forgetting this to set you free.
A voice is going to chime in here in a second. I do remember this portion.
And my Savior to comfort me.
That was Kevin Smith. Well, it's actually a funny story about that, is that was Michael Park's idea, and he wanted them to kind of pan down a couple cells and show Kevin Smith and then have him say, "Shut the fuck up." And Kevin was like, "I think that it's going to take people out of the movie because they're going to recognize me." And Park's response was, "From what?" Like, he didn't understand that Kevin Smith was famous for anything. Like, he just thought he was some director who wanted to put him in a movie. He had no idea of the cult following, so to speak, of Kevin Smith at the time, his Silent Bob and all of his various movies. It's pretty funny. And I like how, if there was any doubt that was Kevin Smith's voice at the end, right after that it cuts to credits and says written and directed by Kevin Smith. And I'm pretty sure that that's to let you know, like, yeah, that was indeed me. So that's Red State. I noticed on this viewing that there's probably 2-3 scenes that are a little bit stretched out from what they should be. And if I had an idea that there was a lot of twists and turns coming, although I had forgotten what a few of them were. So they didn't quite grab me by the go-go or goo-goo, or... What does he say in Up in Smoke? Grabs you by the boo-boo, don't it? Is that what he says? Anyway. Overall, though, I think that it's a really strong, low-budget, underappreciated, underacknowledged, really goes unmentioned for the most part, kind of horror thriller movie. And if you haven't seen it, I doubt I did it justice in this train wreck of a podcast I just recorded. Find it on demand, or I don't know if it's on Amazon or whatever. I bought a digital copy of it a long fucking time ago. But it really is worth a watch or two. And if you're some religious zealot Fred Phelps character, go fuck yourself. Cast, sex. What? Religion. What the fuck? Why is it broken up that way? I don't understand. The cast was broken up into sex and religion? Politics? What a weird way to display the credits. I don't think I've ever seen that before. The actor credits are broken up based off if they were in the sex element of the movie, the religion element of the movie, or the politics element of the movie. That's a curious decision. Like, why differentiate them in that way? I don't know why I'm allowing it to dumbfound me so much. But I just don't think I've seen that. Adam Druxman. That's a weird last name. Druxman. I don't think I've seen that before either. A lot of firsts tonight. Anyway, that's going to culminate today's movie commentary for Red State. Hopefully I didn't bore the piss out of you. Until the next time, this is Devin saying be easy.